Hello and welcome back to today's episode of the podcast. And on today's episode, we're going to be concluding on Maxwell's story, which we started last week. So the next voice you're going to hear is the concluding part of that story. Let's see what changed in Maxwell's story. Let's see how things have ended. Let's see if there are still more lessons and interesting perspective to life that we can learn from Maxwell. Please remember to like. Please remember to share. Remember to drop a comment. Let's engage. Let's engage with the story. Let's share tips. If you experience, if this is very similar to yours, share in the comments. Let me know what you did. Let me know how that is going or how that has ended. Thank you guys, and let's dive right into the podcast. Bye. So you now I know you to have a lot of friends.
Yes.
What changed? You were raised with not having friends. What changed? And what inspired that change?
Uh, you rightly said something earlier, and that was actually a take for me. You said, and I quote,
Okay.
"N- nobody does life alone."
Mhm.
Do you remember? You said that earlier. So the truth is,
Yes, I remember.
I I then thought about it that okay, we're not brought up to have friends, but I know I need people to grow. There's no how, even if I want to get a job. I must know someone. Someone must tell me, oh, this job is there. Or someone must have to direct me. So exposure was one thing that helped. Exposure in the sense that
Okay.
I saw how I was learning how people were conversing. I was learning how people were
Mm-hmm.
making friends. So I then decided, okay, this is how I'm going to do my own work. Now, I know a lot of people, I would say, but my circle is very small. Now,
Okay.
that does not mean they are not my friend. But when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
friendship, I can as well meet you today, we'll laugh and gist and all that. The next time I will introduce him to someone else, I could say, this is my friend. That does not mean that person knows me in
Mm.
depth.
Okay.
So I do have lots of friends, but my circle is very small. So I'm still not going outside what I've been taught while growing up, not to have friends. I do have friends, but
Mm-hmm.
very close circle.
Mm.
I can as well say, aside Lagos
Okay.
and Jerry that knows me very well, I don't think, and innocent. Oh yes, please, innocent and promise. I don't think there's
Mm.
no any other person that really knows me very well than them.
Mm. Okay. So what you're saying is you still hold that advice from your mom,
Yes,
but you now have friends. The only thing you've done is you've just tried to refine that advice to say that okay, I need to do life with people. But
yes,
that the core of the advice wasn't really that don't make friends. It's about make good friends.
exactly.
I want to ask if you can remember. Can you remember when you made this decision that oh okay, maybe what my mom is really saying is not don't have friends. What she's saying is have good friends. Can you remember if if when you made that kind of decision? Or am I correct that that's your thought process towards it?
You're correct. So I think that decision started from my GSS 3.
Okay.
However, it was still a little bit not clear then. I was still very laid back and all that. Not forgetting, still very stubborn. I was laid back but stubborn. So,
Mm,
but
mm,
from my senior secondary, I started loosening up, started getting to know people, started reaching out. Oh, I've not seen you, hope you are good and all that, right? But the main time I really then built this is was when I gained admission.
okay.
So at that instance, there's no how I would do, because at that time I was shuffling school and doing jobs outside. So I will explain that later. But
Mhm.
there are times when I skip class and I need someone to give me, oh, what did they do in class today? There was no how I could do that. I started mingling with people. I started making friends. I started talking to people. Please
Okay.
send me this course. Send me this thing. Oh, please, can I get it? I need to make photocopy. So it started making me understand different people. Like secondary school
Mm.
is one thing, but university is another ball game entirely. You're seeing different people, different character, different dressing, different attitude. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm thrown out in the world, seeing all kind of things. So it's just me navigating it and saying, okay, yes, I think this person. I profile people. I really do profile people. I don't profile
Mm.
it based on how you dress, but based on conversation. So
Mm.
I have this
Okay.
thing that after talking, I feel like okay, I think this person has a good spirit. I can relate with this person. So it's not even about this person is well to do. I don't care about that. I've never cared about you mixing with the rich folks or the poor folks. If I vibe with you, if I feel your spirit is good, I'm good to go with you. So it's majorly my
Awesome.
university that I really mixed up with people very well.
So let me ask you. So you've gone through life this way, and some of my experiences or my own memories about you. I knew the humble days, right? The
Yes.
humble days where things are not. We don't have a lot. We're just feeding from hand to mouth. And now I know now things are not where we want it to be, but there is a huge difference.
Yeah.
What you would say has helped you on that journey so far from so looking back at where you're coming from and where you are now, where you're still going, because at least the job you're doing now is one that it offers you exposure. You've talked a lot about exposure here. You've mingled with people, you've entered rooms, you've even considered you there's some sort of comfort you have, even in terms of finances. Looking back at that young boy that things were really difficult for him and his family, what would you say you learned along the way that you think is invaluable? That if you tell any young person that is currently in that school of hard knocks right now, that you think it would help them navigate life?
Believing in oneself. I think
Okay. What do
that's
you mean by believing in oneself? What do you mean?
so so there's this nudge you have that you just sometimes tell yourself, you reaffirm to yourself that I will make it. No matter what, I will
Okay.
make it. So I've always been like that from my junior secondary school days. I keep telling myself I don't know why it's gonna happen, but I know I'm going to be a great person. I always reaffirm that. And that alone, the fact that I reaffirm it on a daily basis, alone push me to do better or act better. I subconsciously,
Mm.
and it became like a morning devotion thinking or a memory verse thinking that you don't forget. During that period, there's this prayer I say with it whenever I I say those words of affirmation to myself. I say this prayer, oh Lord, bless me indeed, enlarge my territory, let your hand be upon me that I might not cause pain. That single line of prayer is always
Mm.
what I say whenever I reaffirm to myself. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know things are going to change. I am going to be great. And just because I have always told myself that, the idea of failing is what I don't sit back and wait for things to happen for me. I go out of my way to say, oh yes, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want
Okay.
to do this. And to answer your question, I would say words of affirmation. You affirm to yourself that you are capable. You can do it, even when
Mm.
it seems it is not possible. You just tell yourself, I don't know how it's
Yeah.
gonna happen, but I know I am going to make it to it.
Awesome. Awesome. And I like the angle, the direction you were going to say that it's not just about I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it. You you did what you had to do. Because I
Yes.
know you to be someone who was who is hardworking, not even was.
Oh,
You
you
are as
we don't.
you're selfless, but at the same time you put in the work.
Yes.
How important is hard work in this journey of someone who life has dealt a not so great and someone who life is not fair to? How
Hmm.
important is hard work?
It is very important. So to further buttress the word hard work, um, I think
Okay.
my 100 my I'm not even thinking, I'm saying my 100 level school fees was the only thing my mom and my uncle paid. I paid
Hmm.
my paid everything. 200 level, 300 level. I paid myself.
Awesome.
I was at the time I would leave school.
Awesome.
I would go do night shifts at Kamwaya.
Awesome.
I would do night shifts at Olam company. I would do night. So I
Hmm.
had worked in quarry. So I was saving at that time.
Hmm.
For every
Hmm.
penny I make, I was
Hmm.
saving. And then I was putting it in business. I started with a female shoe. I was selling female shoes in school, while in school. But
Awesome.
because I had lots of
Awesome.
friends and I was friendly, I had to tell myself I don't think this is the best approach. And so I had to
Hmm.
start supplying people in school, women that has kiosks. I will
Hmm.
supply them shoes. I sell to them on credit. They give me back my
Hmm.
money. Then
Awesome.
I started saving, and that was when I started multiple business, my fish farming and all that.
Awesome. Awesome. Because of time, I can see that there is a lot to learn from your experience. My final question is this: Is there something you think your experience has given you that if you had been raised with a better privilege, let's say things went on good and nice, do you think there is something you have now or something you know now that you would otherwise have not have known if things were better? Maybe in a sense, the question I'm asking is, do you think there is an advantage you have over someone who is privileged or was raised with privilege?
So, truthfully, I would say because I mean I didn't have a taste of privilege, so I would say it was my own advantage. It was my advantage.
Hmm.
However, for my siblings, they experienced especially my senior brother and my elder sister, they experienced the the
Okay.
the bit of being rich. I mean, my dad was alive at that time,
Okay.
so I mean, I think it still boils down to upbringing, and then you
Yeah.
deciding to be the way you want to be. Because they experience
Yeah.
the half part of being rich and the other side of not having, and they are still good people.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I would say it is um a thing of the mind. It's a thing of you saying yes, I want to be this way.
So you don't think there is any advantage you have over someone who was raised with privilege?
Well, I have the advantage of, like I said, I told you yes. However, I'm trying to portray the point of, oh, using my elder ones as another scenario. They experienced half part of that
Mm.
and half part of this. But me, I experienced the full blown. I don't want to say
Yeah, the
double.
full end. Yeah.
Yes. So, but it was an advantage for me because I know I had to do more for myself.
Okay.
A privileged person might have to do just, I'm not discrediting them or their hard work, but I feel
Yeah.
like because they have the tools, the apparatus, or it's beginning to sound like a science student. I'm sorry. They have the tools to do what they need to do.
Yeah. It's fine.
It makes it
Yeah.
easier for them to navigate life.
Yeah. I get you.
But for me,
Yeah. I get
I
you.
have to do times
And there
10.
is, yeah. Yes. Yes. And that is really what it means to understand life. Rather than being angry about what you cannot change, it is understanding that, okay, this is the situation I find myself at this time, but there's an opportunity to change it. And this is very important for, especially because I don't want to say the large population of people who might listen to this will be Nigerians, but logically to just be people who are close to me before then things spread.
Mm.
People who are Africans, just by design, by virtue of where we live, we're already at the disadvantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know motivational speakers and people would say things like, "Oh, you in all those as aspire to aspire," but the truth of the matter is, because of where you are, you're already at a disadvantage, and a disadvantage not because there's anything wrong with you, but it's just because of the economy in which you find yourself.
Yeah.
And the earlier the better you just take the bull by the horn,
On.
like mommy will say, the better for you.
Yes.
The better for you. You don't have no business being angry with a rich person. You have no business trying to always have the argument of why do they have privilege. That is the job of what they call these people that used to protest, like someone that is an activist. But as if you want life to work for you, you just have to take the bull by the horn. Make a decision that, okay, this situation is what it is. I could not control where I was born, but I can control my result. And I think that's just the story of of your life and what you've shared so far,
Exactly.
which is really awesome. Which is really awesome. Thank you, Maxwell.
You're welcome.
Because of time, I'm sure we would always have other time to conclude this conversation, but I think it's been really helpful. I think one thing that anybody that is listening can learn from this is, just like some persons life lays for them beds of roses and they just come in to lie on them, some persons life is not fair. It's just not fair. And in one way or the other, we've all had our fair share of it. Life not being fair to you might not just be in terms of money. Some persons are born with ailments that do not even allow them at any point to just enjoy life. Life is not just fair, but we have to make of life what we want it to be. You have to take. I think the quote for this episode is, take the bull by
By
the
the
horn.
on. Yes. Yes.
you have to take what's the Igbo this thing? Teach me the Igbo this thing.
So I want to use a
Teach me the Igbo this thing.
I want to use the generic name for Yoruba knows what Nama is. If they say something is Nama, Hausa knows what Nama is. So I will just use Nama so that, and add Igbo to it so that it will be easier for people to understand. Jide Nama nisi.
Okay.
Jide ya nisi. Jide si ya ike.
Jide Anisi.
Yes.
Jide si ya ike.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
how we end this episode. Thank you for listening to Metanoia Mind Shift. Please remember to like, remember to share, and remember to Jideana Insi
Jide.
Abi.
Jide ya nisi.
Remember to
Jide
Jideana
Nama.
Insi.
Jide Nama nisi. Don't worry.
Jidenama Insi. Remember to keep holding,
The bull.
remember to keep
Holding the bull by the horn.
locking the bull by its own.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.